What is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Welcome back here today to another reactions from the NBA Combine, because you guys really enjoyed the measurements video. You guys really enjoyed my day one reactions. Here are my day two reactions, where we actually had a completely different day than the previous two, you could say, where we had actual scrimmages, so real games where you had a bunch of different guys go on between two scrimmage games, and then you also had the media scrums, which this was the first time I was ever a part of a media scrum. It was definitely interesting. So I know this goes down throughout the draft week, throughout All-Star week, teams' individual media days. So basically, you go into a room, there's reporters left and right. They may work for ESPN. They might work in a sense that I'm there. They might work for a team like a Charlotte Hornets or a Brooklyn Nets, right? And basically, they're in different groups of pods. So the first pod was like AJ DeBonsa, Darren Peterson. A lot of top guards were in that first pod. Axel Lenneberg was in that top pod. I think Jaden Quaidance was in the first pod. Isaiah Evans was in that first pod as well. And then you have AJ DeBonsa and Darren Peterson in like the middle of the room. I will have B-roll up throughout this video. Some of it or most of it will be from the combine scrimmages that I took, but maybe I'll sprinkle in just like random B-roll that I had recording the players, and you can kind of get a sense of what I'm talking about, where it's basically first come, first serve, right? Once like a reporter, once somebody's done, like the second they are done asking these questions, the next person asks. And honestly, like, it's cool to be a part of, definitely. It's a little bit of getting used to, because one, I feel terrible for like some of these prospects where Darren Peterson, I applaud like what he went through today, because there were cameras, lights, microphones, cameras, lights, yeah, like just galore in front of him. And he definitely had the biggest area I've ever seen or I saw from a prospect today. And I assume I actually didn't really get to go to his pod, because I'm like, I'm never going to get in there. It also doesn't help that I'm 5'8". So if you're like 6'4", you have a little bit of a better shot to like work your way in there, or you kind of camped out for the last half an hour in front of that table to get that first question. So he just had a bunch left and right. I kind of went across the room to a couple different guys, asked some questions. Actually, AJ's table started to fizzle out a little bit towards the end. So I got an AJ question in there, which was really cool. Did this all for enjoy. We're going to repurpose that content. And then, yeah, I did Axel Lenneberg, like, dope dude, like really great personality. Gonna be rooting for the kid. A kid at like, he's almost 24, 23, whatever. But I thought like he definitely seems like just like the best, like a great guy out there. And then there was scrums throughout the day, and you're asking kind of kids left and right. I try to like break it up a little bit, like ask them like hey, like what's a teammate that you want to play with or go up against at the next level? What's like your favorite hobby outside of basketball? Because a lot, and I get it too, these are reporters asking like, oh, do you plan on staying in the draft? Do you plan to go back to school? Did you talk to Memphis? Did you talk to Dallas? Like left and right. And I was there just to like, I think be a little bit different. But it was some getting used to for sure, to be in that room and see some like familiar faces you may see on TV or anything like that. So the games itself were like, it's always exciting, right? Like every year you kind of have some combine standouts, where I want to say 2020, hold on. Two, Jalen Williams, huge combine standout. He obviously worked out. Brandon Pojemski, another huge combine standout in 2023. 2024, I feel like there was an AJ Mitchell standout performance, but like KJ Simpson, I remember doing really well when I was there. Because it's all guys, like some of you guys on Twitter are like, why isn't AJ in the combine? Why is it, or in the scrimmages, why isn't Peterson? Well, one, they know where they're getting drafted, right? Like DeBonsa's in the top 3, top 2, maybe top 1, right? Mikel Brown Jr. knows he's going to be a lottery pick. There is no like more that you could prove to differentiate yourself from your peers, and you also don't want to risk an injury. Most of the guys playing are fringe second rounders, fringe first rounders, and honestly, Cam Carr played. We'll get to Cam Carr later. He was definitely the best prospect I thought that played. Him, Dalen Swain, and Tower Tanner, I would say, were the highest consensus like mock guys that played in. Carr was ridiculous. Like I said, we'll get to later. I'll start with the first game, where it felt like it was just loads of defensive talent on one team. Let me read off. It was Team Carpenter, where you had Ruben Chinelu, who is a stud defending center at the college level at Florida. He may go back to school. You had Jaden Bradley, a really good point of attack defender this past year at Arizona. You had Malik Brown, arguably the best defender on Duke, you could say last year, 100%. Him or Dame Sarr. Emmanuel Sharp, sick point of attack defender, stocky, physical guy, gets low to the ground at Houston. And you had Dalen Swain, who was one of the best wing defenders in this class out of Texas. He was also like Peter Suter was on this team. Matt Abel was on this team. He's going to UNC after 1 year at NC State. From this game too, I thought Chinelu, like active on the glass. What you expect. This guy's not going to take threes. This guy's not going to really, if you get the ball to him, he's going to either run a DHO or get it to somebody else. He is not putting the ball on the ground. We'd expect that, but there is obviously role for that type of players at the next level. It was a tough performance for Peter Suter. Also got to talk to him. Seems like a great kid, but he's kind of in this for his shooting, and he didn't shoot well. Doesn't mean he's like this. Also, I will have to clarify, it's not the end all be all, right? Like, you can have a terrible combine performance and be a Hall of Famer, but it's, I think, your last chance in like this type of level, in this type of setting, to kind of maybe make a name for yourself a little bit more. It helps if you have a good combine game, but obviously a lot of these guys are going to have like pro days and individual team workouts. Isaiah Nelson didn't really do a whole lot in that scrimmage game either. He was at USF this past season. Bruce Thornton, I thought, like, played pretty well. It's like funny because like so many of these NBA players, like he's 6 foot, like 230 or something like that. And it's like, yeah, you could be an all pro running back. You could just be like, I don't think Derrick Henry's probably taller, but like either way, you could just be a bowling ball running back in the NFL. I thought Emmanuel Sharp looked great, and I think he's going to be the steal of the draft. Him and Miles Uzen from Houston, those two Houston guards. I know Kingston Flemings is the best one and best prospect, but Emmanuel Sharp, I think, is going to be the next in line of the LJ Cryers, the Marcus Sassers of the world, the Jamal Sheds of the world. Invest in these Houston guards with a second round pick. Dalen Swain, he had this really bad brick layup. It was a tough watch, and I actually didn't realize who it was at first, and then I realized, oh shit, that's Dalen Swain, one of my favorite prospects in this draft. But he kind of got everything going defensively. He was a menace defensively, getting into passing lanes, looking active over there. And then you also, like, I think you got to also, like, look at how do these guys are with the ball in their hands in their first step? Are they able to blow by guys? Yes, it's nice if you knock down the jumper, but if you're struggling to blow by guys that, okay, these are college all-stars in a way, when like you maybe were able to get by the fourth man on USF this past year, or the fourth man on Tennessee. Just throwing random schools out there. But if you can't maybe blow by, or you look physically outmatched against these guys, it's really tough to see you being anything different at the next level. I'll get to Braden Smith in that second game, and I love the offensive talent, but you can kind of get overmatched a ton when you're that size, and that's just kind of the NBA, right? It's a size league. Noam Yakov, didn't really know much about him until a few weeks ago. I believe he played in the Belgian league or over in Europe. He's actually committed to Utah. Good ball handle. Reminded me a little bit of like Nikola Jurisic from a couple years ago when I watched the Combine in 2024. And then they ended up winning this game 95-84. The standout for Team Adams was probably Baba Miller, who is like 6'10" without shoes, and he's not like classified as a big either. I thought he looked really good out there, knocked down a couple threes. Yeah, this is like the Rasheer Fleming archetype, if you want it in this draft, and that's Baba Miller from Cincy. Billy Richmond, tough shooting performance. I don't think Billy Richmond should go in this draft, to be honest with you. I do think there's a place for him at the next level, but you got to be patient with him, and I think it would be better to go back to Arkansas or wherever, refine your shot, because it's not broken, but it's not good right now. And I think that's really going to be a big swing skill for him. Terrace Reed struggled a little bit, like with just his overall field goal percentage, but I think Terrace Reed still looked the part, active on the glass. I think he moves extremely well, as my ring light's falling, but I think he moves extremely well for somebody at his size. He's got a great form that I mentioned yesterday where I got to see him in some of the shooting drills. I thought it was more positive than not. Actually, Braden Smith, played in this game. Struggled a little bit. Definitely looks smaller out there. Now, I will say, what we just saw at Purdue, same thing. Braden Smith is an out-of-this-world passer. He's got great court vision. I'm watching him run these pick and rolls. I'm watching him in the offensive half court, and he is just making a read that I thought was like, all right, 2 reads later, he is like a step ahead. And there, I think he had, I have it up, 3 assists in this game. He probably could have had 7 or 8 assists if his teammates were knocking down some shots. It's also really tough in this setting too, because you're kind of just thrown with guys that you've never really played with before. So it's going to be kind of summer league-esque, like a lot of turnovers, a lot of fouls. Miles Uzen, I thought, looked like his shot looks really good, and he had some in and outs. Like, it's a good shot if it's in and out. I know it doesn't fall, but I do think he's going to be one of the steals of the draft as well, because he doesn't really look smaller out there, and I think he's going to be a big, I think, steal in the second round. And then out of the bench guys on that team, John Blackwell got off to a rough start, but really turned it around in like the second half of the scrimmage game. He ends up going 6 of 11 from the field. He's like kind of in a Cedric Howard situation, not as good of a prospect by any means, but he's going to Duke, which Coward was last year. He could go into the draft, but I would think he's going to go to Duke, especially if he's getting a nice NIL package. And it's interesting too, like how broken college basketball is. Like Noam Yakov, for example, right? He's an international prospect who has no years of college eligibility under his belt, or excuse me, experience under his belt. So this is basically Dink Pate. This is basically James Najee at Baylor. Just go into the draft, and then, like, if you don't get drafted, just go back to school. Who's stopping you? It's like the Wild West right now. But yeah, I would say my biggest standouts from that first game, Baba Miller, who played at Cincy, Terrace Reed at UConn, Uzan, who played at Houston, Matt Abel, first guy I just mentioned that actually has eligibility left. I think he's got 3 more years. I could be wrong. Ruben Chinelu from Florida, he has another year of eligibility. And Jaden Bradley was really good. I think Jaden Bradley's going to get drafted as well. There's going to be a lot of these upperclassmen guards that get drafted in the second round that I actually think are going to stick at the next level. And then you had the next game where it was a little bit closer. It was 105-99 final score. I thought there was some really good offensive standouts in this one. We'll start with, I guess, Team Weems here, who ended up losing. But Otega Owe, quiet first half, really strong second half. Interesting player this past year. I know a lot of things went wrong for Kentucky, but I don't know. Always an interesting wing here. And I don't want to fall in love because I remember 2024, I fell in love with Jalen Bridges at the combine. I'm like, this guy's kind of smooth. He's athletic. He's strong. He has hops. Like, I think he's going to be a solid wing in the league. I'm not sure where Jalen Bridges is right now. You have Nick Boyd. I was like Nicholas Boyd. I'm like, who calls him that? Nick Boyd, who played the past year at Wisconsin. Definitely like a little bit of a smaller guard. He had 23 points in this game. He had 8 assists. And I will say he went 3 of 9 from 3. 3 of those were in and out. Like, I thought they were falling. And he's doing this stuff off the dribble, pull up. He's just like movement shooter coming off screens. It could be like a loose ball. Somebody's just throwing to him as the shot clock is expiring. And it's going down. Like, he shot the ball really well. Tyler Tanner, definitely the big, I think everybody was kind of talking about Tyler Tanner because he had a really good freshman year at Vanderbilt. Spreadsheet fan club, draft Twitter name, loves him. And yeah, he didn't play well, I would say. He goes 4 of 11 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3. Did look a little bit outmatched size-wise out there. He finished with 13 points. A little bit of that was garbage time. I don't know, man. It's tough because I don't like Jacoby Gillespie kind of cooked him, who we're going to get to in a little bit. Jacoby Gillespie and Jeremy Fears definitely had their way with him. And I wonder if this game really affects it. I don't, like I said, you're going up against like college all-stars, but this is still a completely different tier of what you're about to enter at the next level where, yeah, you're going up against Jacoby Gillespie. Here's Luka Doncic. Here's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Here's, I don't know, Tyrese Maxey. Like, these guys are just on another level offensively that you're going to have to guard. And then if you get switched, it's game over. Like, Reed Shepherd is a tier above a lot of these guys, and he is getting matchup hunted night and day in the playoffs. I know like the Vanderbilt's coach was there, walked by him. It's really cool. Like, you just walk by a bunch of coaches like Mark Pope, humongous human being. He's so tall. And yeah, there's just like plenty of college coaches out there. And then Nick Martinelli played pretty well, I would say, on this team. Martinelli, I think, deserves to get drafted. He was just such a productive 4-year player at Northwestern. He's 6'7". He's got that Isaiah Hartenstein push shot to him that he had basically throughout his college career. And he would get double teamed night and day this past year in the Big Ten. I think he's worth getting drafted for not a strong wing class. And then I thought Floyd Badunga played pretty well. Props to him for being in that game. He's a little bit undersized as a big. He's committed to Louisville. I think he goes back to Louisville. Nice, very nice guy, actually. I don't know if I'm going to show the video here, but like I'm towards, okay, so the second scrum, which was after the scrimmages where all these guys played, you're talking to these names, right? They're not going in the lottery for the most part or round one. And it's easier to get to these guys. A lot of the top media, like some, I assume, reporters get into that room. They do all the top 10 guys, or they just do AJ, Peterson, Wilson, Boozer, and they head out of there. They don't even go for the second scrum. So yeah, you could walk up to like Peter Suter. You could walk up to Floyd Badunga, Malachi Moreno, and it's like really, it's cool. Like, you're kind of getting more of a personality out of these guys, and you get like to actually have a real conversation with them. But yeah, he was really nice. Floyd Badunga, shout out to him. And I think he played well. I think he would get drafted in the top 40. I think he might go back to Louisville just because of what the NIL can offer, and it's a guarantee. And then for the other team, this team Rivers, actually, I wonder if this person is related to Austin Rivers because the coach kind of looked like him. And somebody said that I was with, Christian of Enjoy Basketball, and I was like, wait. I don't think they're related. They just look alike. I didn't realize his last name was Rivers. That's funny. So this team had some huge offensive standouts, including Cam Carr, who was the best player by far to play in this scrimmage game, or any of the scrimmage games. And he looked the part. 30 points, 9 of 18 from the field, 6 of 12 from 3. He had 6 free throws. He had 7 rebounds. He was hitting step back threes or taking step back threes that looked like James Harden, and he looked like James Harden compared to everybody else. Cam Carr, with his RD plus measurements that we've talked about, I believe in Monday's video of the combine measurements, winners and losers, or Tuesday. added with this performance today, I would be very shocked if he played tomorrow in the combine. And I think he's going to be, like a for sure top 20 pick for his shot creation. It's a weak wing draft. He's not that old compared to like some of these other guys. So I do think Cam Carr, I don't know if top 20 is a lock, but it wouldn't even shock me if he went like 14 to Charlotte, to be honest with you, because they could use some wing help. But he, I think, cemented himself for sure as a first round pick. And if not, top 20, maybe. But yeah, Dylan Mitchell, I thought played really well. He kind of ran like that point forward this year at St. John's, and he impressed me a ton. He finished with, 10 rebounds. He had 8 assists, and he had 7 points, like was doing a little bit of everything. Great athlete, great size. And I do think is going to be a draftable player for his wing and his size, his passing ability, his athleticism. I think 100% that deserves to be drafted, and I will definitely have him like probably mid-second round in most of my new mock drafts now. Honestly, shout out to Jeremy Fears, Michigan State. I did not think he was going to be, I don't know, like, I was surprised. Like, I think he's a junior, right? So he's got another year of eligibility, maybe at Michigan State, where he would just go back, be one of the best point guards in the country. Maybe that still ends up happening. But yeah, he's the older brother of Jeremiah Fears. Also, Jeremy Fears, really like cool guy. Like, talked to him, and I was like, oh, like, who's the guy you want to go up against, former team? And he goes, oh, this guard on the Pelicans I want to play against or with. But Jeremy Fears played really well, good court vision, pretty good athlete, plays up definitely in size. And then I want to talk about Jacoby Gillespie, because this is one of my favorite prospects in the draft. I got to watch Jacoby Gillespie twice in person this year. Maybe 3 times, actually. 3 times. I got to see him play Miami in the round of 64 in Philly. I got to see him play Virginia in the round of 32. And I got to see him in the Players Era tournament in November, whatever, in Vegas. And this man, like, he's 6 foot, but he is pretty, like, built. He's extremely physical. He's got an extremely polished handle, and he can hold his own defensively. Like, he's not Emmanuel Sharp out there. He's a little bit shorter, but he's like just as stocky kind of, and his shot is pure butter. It's amazing. He was great in the drills. He was great today. I feel like it's unfair if I didn't say how many points he had. 28 points. Like, he was kind of going band for band with Cam Carr. Cam Carr's going to overshadow him because he's a little bit of a better prospect, but I thought Jacoby Gillespie was a stud. He was part of that Crab 5 team with Rice and Reese and Derek Queen in 2025, and then this past year at Tennessee, where they ended up making, what did they make? The Elite 8, Sweet 16? Either way, Elite 8, right? Or no? Sweet 16? I'm forgetting now. They lost to Michigan. Everybody kind of lost to Michigan. So yeah, that was my day 2, I guess, combine thoughts. I will not be at the combine tomorrow, where there's just last scrimmages between these teams. Whoever you didn't play today, you'll play somebody else tomorrow. That's going to be on ESPN, so you can watch it. I'll be watching it as well. I will be at the Enjoy Basketball studio. Going to do some fun content over there that you guys will see in the next few weeks. I was on Teed Up today, which was a great time talking to Pierre, talking just college hoops, and a little bit of Knicks as well. And that it's been really fun. Chicago, like, dope place. Combine, obviously a really cool experience to be a part of, and you're just walking past guys left and right, retired players that are like even scouts or working in front offices. Sam Presti was actually like down the row for me. It's like, oh shit, that's that's the architect of the current Oklahoma City Thunder. And yeah, it was definitely a really cool experience. And yeah, just hope you guys enjoyed this. Like, you guys really enjoyed the last 2 ones of these versions. So I was like, why not? Let's do another one of these. And I honestly wouldn't be here without your guys' support. So I feel like I owe it to you guys a lot. You guys are the freaking best. I think we built a really cool online NBA community, but draft community as well, as we just try to, I don't know. I know it's a generational draft at the top 4. Generational in terms of like the quantity of talent, but I feel like a lot of people were talking about the combine this year, for good and for bad, which I think is still a good thing for the NBA when it's all said and done. So I hope you guys did enjoy. Drop a thumbs up if you did. Let me know what your combine thoughts were in the comments, from maybe what you saw on like Twitter, Instagram TV, anything like that. Catch you on the next one. Peace.